not coming in here, right? Why not? Well, he'll come in when we ask him.
He's got to be in the lobby.
Is he going to be in uniform?
Huh?
Is he coming in uniform?
Yeah, he'll be in the lobby.
Oh, okay. Can't do it. He's only wearing here too. Right? Let's see if he's
They're
here.
coming now.
John, too. Well, no. Right, really. Jay, Jay, in case I miss you, John.
Yeah. Everyone's got me missing right here. Yeah. Is that going to be the final? Lakeside getting it approved. They still got to get the plans, right? Maybe I'll
He's here. In the back area.
Okay, can we please stand for the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through the notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all, requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trend. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here?
Council President Rogers excused.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilman Baranka.
Here.
Councilman Deline.
Here.
Councilman Jacobanich excused.
Yes.
Councilman Ben.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Joseph Ragno and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyle.
Okay, thank you. We have some presentations I'd like to do, so we're going to start with Stanley. If Stanley would step forward, please, and the chief. Where is he? Come on down.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We're honoring a very special man today. That's Stanley Sukanik. Stanley has been a crossing guard with us for almost 20 years. He was shy of 20 years by a couple months, but we'll give him the 20 years. Stanley has been one of our crossing guard who really enjoys his job. I can't tell you how many times he's come to me. One time he lost his hearing aid, and we went out there in the cold, and we're searching for his hearing aid. I froze, the spots are coming out and everything. And Stanley, we searched out there for about an hour and a half. And then Stanley goes home, he was devastated. Only to call me back and tell me, listen, I found it was on my sweater. But Stanley was so afraid that he wasn't going to be out there. He enjoyed the kids. He really had his heart into it. And I want to make this presentation to Stanley. And it says, it's a word of service to crossing guard Stanley Sukanik, in recognition of his 19 years of dedicated service to the children of the Borough of Pompton Lakes from May 13th, 1998 to June 21st, 2017. Thank you, Stanley, for all the hard work.
I will say you caused a lot of concern in town when the news crews were here. And, you know, when news crews are here, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. I got about 15 calls. Why is there a news crew in town? It's just our crossing guard. They want to put a news story on. So congratulations on that. And it's a nice long run, and I'm sure the kids are going to miss you, and I'm sure you're going to miss the kids. I also have from our legislation, the next proclamation in honor of your stepping down as a crossing guard. Congratulations. You can stay and listen to the rest of the screen. You can run It's nice to see somebody do a job they enjoy doing for so long, so it's very nice to see. Yes, it is. And we also have some other, another update and presentation, and another officer. Ryan Shashan, would you step forward, please? Ryan's been with us for 10 years. How long have you been with us? 8.5 years. He's going to be our next lieutenant here in town in Pompton Lakes. It's a big step, and we're very proud of the fact that he's going to be our next lieutenant. So congratulations on that. He's doing a great job.
I state your name. I, Ryan Shashan. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. That I will support the Constitution. Of the United States. Of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the same. To the same. And to the governments established. And to the governments established. In the United States. In the United States. And in this state. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. That I will faithfully. That I will faithfully. Impartially. Impartially. And justly. And justly. Perform all the duties of. Perform all the duties of. Police lieutenant. Police lieutenant. According to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. So help me God. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, now's your chance to get out if you want to get out. If you'd like to stay, you're welcome to stay. Thanks. Now we know how you're feeling.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
It's supposed to be between the button. Yeah, between the Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments? So moved. Councilman DeLine.
Second.
Councilman Benning. All in favor? Aye. Against? Anyone from the public like to address? About to say seeing no one. Come on up.
You were just gonna say that.
No, I'm a gentleman. I usually wait for the ladies to go first. Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. I did hear a few times asking about the Ringwood Ave, Willard Street, sidewalk, crosswalk. Has there been anything on that?
Willard Street sidewalk crosswalk.
Yeah, I have a response. For it.
Okay.
PSC&G is going to repair that. We went back to the county, and we went back and looked. It was a trench that they had done a while ago that was having issues. They might have done it, they were supposed to today, but it's going to be done next few weeks.
All right, so
It
what,
should be today, but I know for
and that's good news, so I'm glad that's getting done, and thank you for bringing it to our attention. But I will tell you, when I was talking to the freeholders yesterday, one of the issues we are having with PSC&G is they come in, they do their project, they do their dig, and they do a fast coat over it, and then they're supposed to come back 6 months later and check how it settled, and then re-skim it and coat it on top again. It seems that sometimes they're forgetting that second step, and I think that's what happened here also. And the county's also having issues with the same problem, so they're gonna put together a little group to kind of see what they can do to make that better.
Yeah, I went over there too myself and realized that there was two 14-inch caps from PSC&G, but Kevin was already on top of it, so, thank you. Residents in that area have been hitting that dip for years, so
Yeah, that's good.
I'm glad that
I'm glad we got it fixed.
they're going to take care of that. There was a gentleman in here last meeting talking about the little bridge, DuPont.
Mhm.
Any movement on that?
We had a discussion yesterday again with the county, which I'll discuss in my report, with the county freeholders were here. We're looking into who's going to take ownership of that bridge and who owns it. It's a little bit of some work to figure out who actually owns that bridge.
Right, because the plate that's there now is a little small, the hole is starting to creep out into the roadway.
We did not put that plate there. We don't own plates like that.
Right.
So, we know we didn't put it there, but somebody did put it there, and it is too small now. And we made the county aware of that, and we're gonna work together and see what we can do with that.
Good, thank you. One other thing that I noticed, on the 4th of July, SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, there were no flags in town,
There should have been flags downtown.
no flags in the center of town for the 4th of July.
I'd have to check with the DPW. We usually put our flags up on the
The
pole.
flags were up along Colfax Avenue from the Memorial Day parade, but there were no flags in town.
I'll look into it. I don't know if we're still putting up the flags on, the bid has a meeting tomorrow. I can ask them
I
what
would
they
just
know
think
about
that
it.
it would be standard operating procedure when the holiday comes then.
I don't know if we put them up before, so I can't be honest if we've had them there before. I don't know.
I mean, I drove by your house, I didn't see a flag.
I was holding it in the backyard. I had it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Please step up.
Maribel Cielo, 444 Midland Avenue. I just wanted to ask, the revaluation of the homes, is it done?
No.
Oh, okay, because a couple of people were asking.
They're still working on, I know some streets haven't been hit, and they're also going back to go to the houses that didn't answer in the first try. You know, there were stickers put on doors, and I will remind, you bring up a point that I'll remind our residents that if you did get a sticker put on your door, you should really call and set up an appointment that works for you. They'll come there, it takes 10 minutes, and they're in and out.
Right.
And that way, they don't have to chase you down, and either way, they're gonna have to get in your house.
Yeah, I told them to call, but then I wanted to find out if it was done completely.
No, it's not done.
So they're still waiting.
They're shooting for September, I can't promise.
Oh, okay.
Done, yeah.
Okay. The other issue, a couple of residents called me on Midland Avenue by the park side. Could you explain to me what happened with these hundreds of signs in one little block? They're doing the handicap corners, but then they have signs at every 10 feet.
It's funny.
There's two people that call, they're in the dead end, there's two homes, and they're the only ones that come in and out, and they got 4 signs right there.
Signs that say detours, what do they
There's
say?
signs that says, stop street, there's signs that says warning of the crosswalk, then from there to there, there's a sign that says crosswalk.
Are these permanent signs or temporary
Yeah,
signs?
I
We had
think
it
permanent.
there. We had any new signs on that project. What was there, was there.
Okay, so whatever was there has always been there.
No, these signs are all new, since they've been doing the work.
I'll double check on that.
We'll check.
There's signs everywhere.
I haven't been over there, so I'll take a look, but, I don't remember seeing
I
signs
think I
being
counted
ordered.
like 20 signs in that little strip of
All
Midland
for
Avenue.
stopping?
Just that Midland Avenue strip, not my side, but the other side.
I'll check.
All right, let's
There's
take a
about
look.
20 signs, and they were really upset with it. I don't know if it's part of the grant, is it part of the grant or something, or?
We had to pay for the project, but again, it could be, I'll check if it's there, if the DOT requires it. they're not going to be taken down, there never is something.
Right, they just want to know because, they woke up and there's signs everywhere.
I haven't seen it, I'll go take a look, but, Kevin will look
Okay.
into it also.
Just
But
see.
again, they're there, they're probably be there.
If it's fixed for that, this way we know.
They were not there, and they do now, that's because the engineering design requires them to be there. Not gonna take it down.
So is the work they're doing, and that's by the state, is that by the state?
Yes, that's not us, yes.
It's by the state, okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public comments? Was it Councilman Branco? Second. Councilman Devine, all in favor? Aye. Against? Approval of minutes, can I have a motion to approve the following minutes? Regular meeting minutes of June 28th, special closed meeting minutes of June 28th, special closed meeting minutes of July 13th.
So moved.
Councilman Begg? Second. Councilman Devine, all in favor? Aye. Against? Bills and claims, motion to approve the following bill list as stated below. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Begg? Second. Councilman Devine, all in favor? Aye. Against? Petitions, we have none. Consent agenda whenever you're ready.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, does anyone want any resolutions called?
Any resolutions? No, we're good.
Does not desire to remove resolutions for individual actions from the agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 17-139 through 17-147, as well as the first resolution that was...
Yes, I'm sorry, we skipped that.
17-145.
Do you want me to read that, or is that included, you just included it?
I can include it in?
Okay.
Okay, it's included in. 147 is included, 143 is included in.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Resolutions for separate, action.
There are none.
We have none. Introduction of ordinances, first reading.
17-18. This ordinance will be presented for second reading and final adoption on August 16th. An ordinance amending 90-83 of the Borough Administrative Code redevelopment block 6,300, lot 34.
Okay, I have a motion for discussion, please. Yes, please.
The purpose of this purpose of this ordinance is to remove the restrictions in the redevelopment zone on one piece of property. The property was originally restricted to be used for limited community purposes, and that restriction is being lifted so that while it remains in the redevelopment zone, it can be used for any purpose approved by the redevelopment agency and the borough.
Okay. Motion to approve ordinance number 17-18 for introduction. So moved. Councilman Branco? Councilman Bay? Roll call, please.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilman Baranco.
Yes.
Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Councilman Finn.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-17, final adoption. This ordinance has been posted on the municipal bulletin board and advertised. An ordinance amending section 50-3 of the Code of the Borough of Pompton Lakes entitled Compensation by increasing the compensation to members of the Pompton Lakes Municipal Utilities Authority.
Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 17-17. So moved. Councilman Deline?
Second.
Councilman Bennett? All in favor? Aye. Against? Anyone from the public like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman Begg? Second. Councilman Deline? All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion to approve ordinance 17-17 for final adoption. So moved, Mayor. Councilman Branco? Second. Councilman Deline? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilman Baranco.
Yes.
Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Councilman Finn.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, under my report, you'll notice in the last couple of months, we've been adding police officers and changing rank. We had some retirements and some changes in our department, so we are a little behind in numbers, and we're trying to catch up now because of our loss of men. So in the last meeting, we brought on 4 new officers, and we introduced a new sergeant, and we introduced a new lieutenant. So these are things that'll help the manpower in our force right now. The guys have been working hard, working long hours to cover up, vacation time and summertime. So this will be a big shot in the arm for them to get back to their normal schedules. So I thank them for all the hard work they've been putting in recently. I attended a meeting with the EPA regional director out of New York City. She came down to see the project over at the lake that Comores is doing. We had an inside tour. It's the first time I've actually been inside the premise. You're not really allowed to walk through there, but they had it set up so we could. It's a very impressive setup there. There's a lot of work going on. I know the regional director was very impressed with the project itself and how it was running. They are on schedule. They are not behind schedule, which is good to hear, and they're chugging along and getting it done. You know, at the end of the day, the EPA wanted to see a project that is actually going from start to finish. You know, it's hard with these kinds of projects, with the stops and goes and the environment and the government involved, to see a project actually working. So she was very impressed to come down and see a project working here. There was a story in the paper about it. We had a reporter there. So all in all, the project is moving ahead. I know that there was some discussion last night at a meeting that I'm going to talk about from our residents over in that area about their concerns. You know, again, I've always said from day one, this council and myself as mayor are not the experts of what's going on here at this problem. You have to speak with the EPA and the DEP. They're the ones that are going to give you the real answers on this. And, you know, your neighbor, someone you meet on the street, even myself, we're not going to have that kind of information, the knowledge needed to know that kind of information. So if you need to get information, you really should be discussing it with the EPA. And no one's saying we have to go out and just blindly trust Comores or DuPont to do what they have to do. We're hoping the EPA is doing what they're trained to do and paid to do, and watch over the project along with the DEP and make the project move forward. At the end of the day, Pompton Lakes deserves to have this project done right, and finished and moved on. We've lived with this long enough. It's time to keep moving forward with this. So, you know, some residents have to understand we can't just sit still forever with this. This has to move forward. I attended a couple meetings for personnel. We were lucky enough last night to have the freeholders hold their freeholder meeting here, and I thank them for coming here. It was a packed house. A lot of talk about Frisbee golf, I'll be honest. But they gave our residents a chance to bring any problems or concerns they have with the freeholders. And, you know, last night I brought it up, and I'll bring it up here. You know, even though there's two different parties involved there with the freeholders and Pompton Lakes, at the end of the day, we want Pompton Lakes to be a better place. They want Passaic County to be a better place. You know, this is how government is supposed to work. We're supposed to work with these groups, make things better. It's not about trying to put the other one down and make things not work. So we seem to be doing that here in Pompton Lakes, and I'm thankful for the freeholders for that, and I'm thankful for Pompton Lakes for letting us be able to do what we have to do. So again, I thank them for coming, and they gave us some nice gifts that will be hanging on the wall very shortly. I attended an Eagle Scout ceremony. It's probably my 8th one in the last 3 months. I've never seen so many Eagle Scouts come out of one small town. You know, some towns go 1 month and they have 1 year and they have 1 Eagle Scout. We've had 8 in the last 3 months, so it's very impressive. I had 3 weddings. I attended the planning board and zoning board meetings, recreation, library. I attended the car show held by the Elks yesterday on Sunday. They do a great event there. You know, any of these outside organizations that hold events, that bring residents into town, that shop, that eat at restaurants, it's a good thing for everybody. It's a good thing for the Elks. It's a good thing for Pompton Lakes. The Elks did a nice job with the car show. There was probably 150 cars there. Nice, beautiful day. Lots of people walking around. Those are the kind of events that make things special here in town. Right now, as we speak, we have the concert series going on at the library. 3M Band, a pretty popular band in this area, is playing right now. I haven't been over, but I'm sure there's at least 100 people sitting there listening to the concert. So, you know, those are the kind of things that make us special. So I'm glad to see those things moving forward, and I thank all the organizations and groups. Lastly, I met with Assemblyman Rooney on Friday, along with our administrator and Ed Merrill, to discuss our flood maps and the changing of the flood maps and how it affects our residents. We have some ideas and we've hired some experts to help us fight these flood maps and try to get the maps changed back to the originals. We feel good about the information. The Assemblyman is going to try to help us with that and move us forward in the DEP at the state level to see if they can understand what we're trying to explain to them. At the end of the day, when they change these flood maps by just the swipe of a pen and moving a line, it puts people in a flood zone that were never in a flood property to begin with. And we're not talking 5 people or 10 people, it's hundreds of people. So this affects our town, and it affects these residents. The one thing I will say about this is, if you're in a flood zone now, the line doesn't change your flood insurance. Your flood insurance is your flood insurance, and it will stay the number it is as right now. The line has no effect on what you're paying for flood insurance. It does have some effect, if you're in a floodway, on how you're able to use your property for permitting problems. If you wanted to put a pool in, or a fence, or a shed, normally you could come to the town for those permits. Now, if this becomes official and you're in that floodway, you would have to go to the state DEP to apply for the permits. That's a long process, it's a hard process, it's an expensive process. So we're trying to ask the DEP to show some good faith in the fact that we're doing our job here in Pompton Lakes. Let us keep up on the permitting side of it and hand out the permits, and not at the exorbitant cost that the state has, so people can still do work on their houses if this is what they want to do. So this is pretty important to the South End residents. I'm thankful for Assemblyman Rooney for helping us push this through, and we'll see where that goes in the future. And that's my report. Okay. Councilman Begg. Oh, no, I'm sorry. DeLine, Councilman DeLine.
Thank you, Mayor. I've actually got a very brief report, because since the last council meeting, every meeting that I'm a liaison for has been canceled.
Lucky you.
For one reason or another. I did want to point out a couple things. One, the ordinance 17-18 that was introduced for first reading was not part of my previous report from last month. Just to point that out, because it was sort of an administrative change. It was within, functionally, it's the CJM building that was, for whatever reason, when the downtown business district was established, only public use was allowed for that particular piece of property. Probably for some changes that are no longer in the plans today. The owner, I think, has gone to the redevelopment board to prevent some concepts, and as a result of that, because it is a business and they want to continue to operate it as a business, it became necessary to do any changes to that building. This ordinance is required. So, given the timing, given where they are in the process, it was necessary to move forward with the first reading prior to any usual report that I give before any report, or before any ordinance becomes introduced. The second thing is I wanted to point out their National Night Out is coming on Tuesday, August 1st. It's a great event. People should definitely go. It's held, organized by the police department. Don Gossam and Sharon Sonny put in a lot of effort. Everybody that is involved puts in a lot of effort. With that too is, we've kicked off the biking and pedestrian plan, and they're actually going to be doing public outreach that night. So stop by their table, give some input if you're there. And that's where things stand with that.
Just remind everybody that's where it's held and what time.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's behind the high school in the parking lot. 7 to 10 p.m., I believe, is the time of it. So that's pretty much something I wanted to point out. And then finally, just got some reports on the lake treatment from Solitude Lake Management. Overall, the lakes are doing pretty good. Pompton Lake, which got a systemic treatment last year, is still doing very well after that systemic treatment. So whatever they did is carrying over. They've since treated Twin Lake with that same systemic treatment. They've observed some growth. They did the treatment. Overall, that lake is looking pretty good. So hopefully that's going to have a continuous effect into next year, that because of the Twin Lake got the systemic treatment, then it won't require as much treatment, in 2018. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. I forgot to mention, I need one closed session on personnel. Okay, Councilman Bennett, and you also have a motion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I make a motion to approve request for Cub Scout Pack 9038 to close Hirschfield Park Place between Ramapo Avenue and Arcadia Road for the Soapbox Derby, scheduled for Saturday, August 19th, 2017, from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid not on duty. Police to assist with traffic control, traffic cones and barricades. Board of Education confirmed that no events or activities are scheduled at Hirschfield Park. notify police, fire, first aid.
Second, Councilman Devine, all in favor? Aye. Against? Okay.
All right, so my report. Same with Councilman DeLine, most of my meetings were canceled in July, but I did attend the car show as well, and it was a gorgeous day, and had many, many cars were out there, and a lot of folks looked like they were enjoying themselves as well. They also run a very nice event. I also attended the St. Mary's Carnival on various nights. Weather did cooperate, even though it rained up until basically it started, even probably up to including right when it started, and people still came out, and there was huge lines for tickets just about every night. I look forward to next year's carnival. I also attended last night's freeholder board meeting. It was very interesting to see how other folks run their meetings. It was very interesting also to notice that the public comment section lasted much longer than the meeting itself, the agenda part of the meeting. I'd like to congratulate Lieutenant Chashan on his promotion, and that's my report.
Okay, just to carry on that a little bit. The one thing they did announce last night at the freeholders meeting is they came up with money for the open space for the Ryerson site, where they were having issues with the burial site that's 115 years old. No one was taking care of it. It was falling apart. They were able to get some open space funds to put that back together again and bring that back to life. So that's a big deal for Pompton Lakes, because it's something that should have been fixed, and I'm glad they figured out a way to come up with some money for that. You know, I'm sure the church is very happy about the fact that they're going in there and fixing it. So I think that was a nice thing for them to do for us. Okay, Councilman Begg.
Thank you. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report for the month of June from Chief Danielle Cantrell. There were 95 calls for the month, 51 in Pompton Lakes, 19 in Riverdale, 6 duty calls in Wanacue. There were 52 medical emergencies, 15 trauma injury calls, 1 CPR call, 12 motor vehicle accident calls, and 1 fire call. I attended the Pompton Lakes Chamber of Commerce meeting on July 11th. The Chamber discussed participation in the following events: townwide garage sale on July 15th, which was a great success. A lot of crowded streets and people happy with the event itself. The 3M band concert, which is taking place tonight, was delayed to 1 week. It's at the library and sponsored by Chilton Medical Group. It was mentioned here before, Police National Night Out on Tuesday, August 3rd. That'll be at the high school. Pompton Day on Sunday, September 3rd, and the Chamber's Car Show on October 8th. The Chamber received thank you notes from the 4 students that were recipient to the Chamber's $500 scholarships. I attended the Pompton Lakes Board of Education meeting on July 11th. Mrs. Diane Gellick, she's the chairwoman of the Pompton Lakes Education Foundation. She presented a check for $17,500 to be used for computers on the carts for the incoming 6th grade class. This is a continuing program to support the board's efforts to maintain their technology program. Superintendent Paul Amoroso issued the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report to the board for the school year 2016-2017. The report indicates there were 15 such investigations during the year, with only 6 being confirmed. The superintendent indicated those numbers in that area are very low, and they find that rarely ever do they have a repeat offender. The superintendent also reported on the advanced placement scores. There were 11 AP courses offered in the 2017 school year. The district tested 156 AP students, the most ever tested in the district. And these students, 118 scored a 3 or higher out of a possible 5. That's about 75.6% of the students. This represents the second highest rate of scores that was a 3 or above. in the district's history since they've been doing this. This well reflects the performance of our students in the testing program, and shows what is going on in the school system, and it's really progressing very nicely. And that's my report. Thank you.
I'm going to go back to what you brought up with Diane Gielok. You know, she started a program that was used to raise funds for the programs that the teachers would like to run, but can't be funded by the school board themselves. You know, she started as a grassroots, just a couple people. She really puts a lot of time and effort into what she does there, and yearly comes up with checks of $15,000 and $20,000 that she donates to the schools, and then the schools give small grants to teachers who have programs or are looking to do something as a way of not raising our taxes. So, you know, in a roundabout way, she's helping keeping our taxes stable by doing what she's doing, and her kids are well through high school, graduated, I think they're married, so she's still involved and still doing it. So I give her a lot of credit for doing what she does with that group. Also, I just want to follow up on the senior picnic is Thursday, August 10th. It's for any senior in town. It's a great event. We usually get over 100 people. It's at the Elks Lodge. Starts at noon. Everyone's welcome. It's free, food, dancing, the whole thing. So please spread the word. If people need transportation, they should reach out to either their senior group, and we might be able to get some busing for them, or see if we can arrange to get people over there. I know sometimes it's an issue of getting people back and forth, and we'd love to get as many people there as we can.
Just one other thing about Mrs. Geller. She works very hard at what she does, and she's always looking for some extra help. Extra hands will always help her. So if anyone out there wishes to participate, you can get a hold of her directly. She's available.
Great, thank you. Councilman Branco.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also going to be kind of brief. July is not a very active month in local government. I was also at the Elks Lodge Car Show. Very, very well done. I have a 7-year-old gearhead that lives in my house, which is my son, and he can tell you that there were exactly 155 cars at the car show, and that's not an easy thing to do, to get that many show-quality cars at any location, so kudos to them. I also congratulate Lieutenant Sashone and echo Councilman Venon and Councilman DeLine's feeling about National Night Out. National Night Out is an excellent time for our community. It's used primarily for our community to get to know our police department. We got a lot of new faces in our police department, and new ranks and new roles that the police department is going to start to kind of grow and make their way through. It would be a great night for everybody to get out and get to know our policemen a little better. They're all great guys. And last year's National Night Out was very successful and tons of fun with the fire department, shooting water on all the kids. It was a lot of fun. My kids loved it. The MUA meeting I attended on July 17th. We have a couple of pieces of information I'd like to share with the public on that, specifically under Commissioner Kent's report. He had a very brief sort of impromptu pro bono solar energy discovery for a solar plant at the MUA. There's nothing yet to report. This is purely discovery. Engineers come in to just kind of take a look at the lay of the land over there, and as everybody knows, the MUA consumes an enormous amount of electrical energy. During Commissioner Galletta's report, he did report that the lake cleanup that Camor's is conducting is consuming enormous amounts of MUA water, and Camor's is paying for every drop. So that's good to hear for MUA's fiscal health. And last month, I reported that we had a new sludge removal contract that was signed by RD Trucking, and we have since received their performance bond for that contract. Zoning Board of Adjustments did not convene, so we have no report, no news from them. Very small piece on the DPW. The DPW continues to struggle with manpower. Luckily, we have summer help handling a lot of things for DPW right now. As you know from our agenda this evening, Resolution 17-142 for Tyler Zipfel. He was a DPW employee, a very important one. He is no longer with us. We do have a couple of ads
4 CDL drivers and laborers running right now, which I've confirmed with Borough Administrator Boyle. And that's my report. Okay, going back to the DPW, another group that I'd like to give some credit to, we're a little shorthanded. We got that summer help in there. We had the townwide garage sale that after everybody's done trying to sell all their junk, it all goes to the curb, and somebody's got to pick it up, and it is our DPW, unfortunately. So they did work hard in this hot weather to get through most of the stuff that we put out on the streets, and there was a lot. I drove around the streets just to make sure everything was working nice in town, and I saw a lot of garbage on the streets. So I give them a lot of thanks for picking all that garbage up and getting it out before the next day was up. Also, the fact that your son got to pick the winning ticket at the Elks Lodge, I'm sure he was very happy about that, absolutely. And just a reminder, we have Pompton Day, Sunday, September 3rd, rain date Monday, September 4th. There's a 5K run that starts at 9 in the morning. And fireworks, of course, at night. We are in a street fair downtown, but we are looking for individuals who would like to be involved a little bit, who would like to give some ideas. We're looking for some new faces, new ideas, change it up a little bit. So even if you don't think you want to do it for this year because it's coming close, we'd love to have you on for next year. As in Pompton Lakes, people stay in a long position and do things for many years, but we'd love to bring in new blood and make that work. So if you're interested in that, please contact our rec director, Karen Murphy, or myself, and we'll hook you up with the group. They only meet maybe once every 3 months until the last month, and maybe they meet twice that month. So it's not like they're meeting all the time, but it's a very important group in town. Professional reports.
I have no.
Before we get to the no report of our attorney, the attorney has brought up to our attention about the closed session. Do you have anything, personnel, did we rice this person for closed session?
Is there an individual involved? Did we give them notice? Say again?
No, I did not do that.
But there is an individual involved?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, so I'm going to change my closed session to closed session about salary. How about that? It's not going to be about an individual.
About salaries? Salaries, not a closed session. Unless you're negotiating something.
We are no. All right, okay, then we will have no closed session.
Why don't you run against them?
Okay, we'll do that, but no closed session, so I'm pulling that back. Administrator's report.
Okay, Mayor, a couple of things I have on my agenda I sent to the governing body. We received our June report from the Northern Regional Education Services through our IT work here in the borough. We also received a summer safety tips from First Energy Corporation. Millennium Strategies does our grant work. We received a monthly report from them. I provide the council with a loss fund analysis now that we've been through the first half of the year with our joint insurance fund. It provides them with everything from January to the end of June, plus the whole accumulation of loss runs from the inception of the pool, and we began. We also received from FEMA OEM almost $1 million, $965,000.
Finally, some money.
Was provided to us as part of our severe repetitive loss program back in 2011. The original process of everything was going to be demolished. We're going to demo every house under severe repetitive loss and under HMGP. It was decided that we're going to do the elevations of 11 homes instead. That being the case, the budget was off. It costs more money to elevate the house than it does to knock them down. That being said,
did we put that money out front?
Excuse me?
We put that money out front then? For the cost, right? That's what the public understand that thing.
So as part of the process, we petitioned FEMA for additional funding, and that was granted. $965,000 is going to our pot when we do the reconciliation of that. So that's good news. Otherwise, we would have a little bit of a shortfall there. Just sad. We received from the DEP a checklist relative to the Emerald Ash Borer. I provided that to the council. Unfortunately, if you recall, we've applied the Firehouse, which is a Firehouse Subs, which is an organization that actually has, substations in terms of, sandwiches, and they also provide grants. And one of the things we applied for was the new river gauges.
Right.
And that was not funded, but talking to Sue, she had done something similar in another community in the second round. That community received funding what they're looking for. So we're going to be filled up again next quarter.
And let's remind everybody, those gauges are not cheap, they're pretty
Yeah,
expensive.
you could use the electronic gauges, not just the ones you put on the side of the bridge or something, and these are actually electronic gauges. Also, we received notice our community, our sheriff's annual rating certificate will be up in October 17th, will be part of our recertification in October. Speaking of FEMA and so forth, next Thursday, I'm going to be meeting with FEMA, Mike Foley from FEMA in New York, and Brad Waugh from Jersey State Police to go over our submissions for our final reimbursements, for both SRL and HMGP. I have a whole banker's box full of actual documents we have to provide, every voucher, every check. I mean, the stack is humongous, but we need to find out how they want that given to them. If they want it by that, they want it in this form, and also make sure they believe our analysis, how we did it, was correct. So that's next Thursday. At the same time, all of our DEP provided a 10% match on some of these projects. All of our requests for that 10% match is now in, so hopefully we'll start seeing some of that money in front of them. The hope is all this all come together and we have the money prior to the end of the year. As you recall, the way the funding worked out, this impacted our surplus because we had to pretty much take away surplus to offset those dollars that came back in. You know,
Do we have a time frame from either the DEP or the
well,
FEMA?
right now that's in process, and right now the last check I received was a request to put in January, so it takes a while.
Yeah, I know.
In terms of FEMA OEM, we'll find out next Thursday what their time frame is to sort it through and cut checks.
Okay.
So we'll know. The ADA handicap program over, as Millie was saying, is complete, and a good portion that was funded through the county development grant, so that's done. Riverdale Boulevard, all of the concrete work was done. There'll be milling and pavement shortly on that road. The Broadway Avenue, the whole stretch of Broadway Avenue, we're getting ready to start that project, probably next week or so. And last, the Morris Canal Greenway project, we received our DEP permits. We have a little bit of an issue with the county of mistake relative to Dawes Highway. There's an issue as to how we designed the stretch as we come across Dawes Highway to how they believe it should be. So it's a little bit of engineering determination. And our engineer pretty much says it's his license on the plans, and he believes his determination is correct. So we're trying to work that. Once that's done, I believe we're almost ready to go to bid with the Morris Canal Greenway. That's my report.
Any questions for the administrator? No. Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments? So moved. Councilman Devine? Second. Councilman Marenko, all in favor? Aye. Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Yeah, Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Ordinance 1718, the restriction removal. Is that the old Woolworth building?
It's the CGM building. I'm not as old as you, so I
Yes,
don't know.
it's the old Woolworths building.
Thank you, Bill. Councilman Bennon's report, when Cub Scout Pack is going to close the road, and he said the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid is not on duty. Who is on duty?
Okay, you
Yeah, Wanacue.
Montague?
It's a Wanacue weekend.
Okay. Just so the public knows. On the reval, with J-Tree, I'm out talking to everybody. Now that I'm running for a council position, I'm out talking to everybody. Talked to a woman on Albany. Now, you had mentioned one time that if no one is home, they leave a note, but they do measure the outside.
Yes.
Now, she has a complete fenced-in backyard with a pool, and when she got her note and the reval came back, they said they've already been through her yard. She was quite upset,
That is
because she looked at it as trespassing,
Well, that is the,
because there's no permission given.
that is,
It just came through her yard.
she needs to take it up then with them. That is their
I mean-
company. We don't okay that, we don't not okay that. It's their company that's doing it.
But I mean, Mr. Ragno, would that be trespassing? There's no permission granted for them to go in your yard.
I'm not in a position to give a legal opinion to someone, you know, who's not a member of the council. I I can't give you an answer to that question. She'll have to see her own lawyer, or contact, better yet, contact the rebound company.
Right.
That would be the wisest thing.
Right, because just like your yard, Mr. Mayor, was completely high fenced, and they just went in and did all their measurements without any permission.
If a resident has a concern with that, they should call the
It was
rebound
quite
company.
distraught.
Well, then she should make a call.
Okay. Also, I wouldn't say to you, Millie had said about Midland Ave and Ackerman, take a ride over there. There is handicapped access the way the streets are laid out. There are easily 20 or more signs, bright green signs, and a lot of those residents are upset.
Again, though, if the county put them in and
No,
then
we put them
required...
in, but again, they're designed, if that's the case, designed by the standard engineers required design by, those signs aren't coming down. Because what happens is, once you put handicap signs, and you put handicap ramps in, you put the markers in the road, you have to have a sign.
Were there crosswalks painted in the
I have to
road?
go back and look, I have to go back and look at the plans. But bottom line is, whatever was designed based upon MDT, which was required.
Right, and that's what happens, is when they mandated at every intersection, when you go to a roadway, you have to do 88 ramps.
Correct.
With that, you have to have advanced notice that they're approaching an intersection, particularly when it's a marked crosswalk.
Correct.
So then to meet those requirements, you have something called the MUTCD, the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That will dictate what kind of signs have to go where ahead of some sort of improvement. So there's not like, well, there's too many signs in this neighborhood. This is what the federal government dictates for these purposes have to go into these projects.
You're absolutely correct. One of the residents is a road engineer, and he said according to ADA, that's what's required, all those signs. But what he did say was, there was no notification to the residents that any of that was happening, either from the town or from the contractor.
There wouldn't be any notice.
Well, first of all residents received, who were involved in those, just a placard on our house, they're working there. But that's in the right of way. We can put anything in the right of way.
No, I understand that, through the shade tree, same thing.
That's how it works.
That's how upset they were. One of the gentlemen I talked to, was a St. County Sheriff, different hours that he works, was upstairs taking a shower, thought that he left something on because his water pressure went down. He went downstairs and the construction crew was using his hose to water down the sidewalk.
Mr. Hinton, I'm going to remind you, though, that when you're bringing a lot of concerns that other residents are bringing to you,
Correct.
I really can't take stories from you about other residents. If residents have concerns, they need to bring them to the council by themselves. You know, it's secondhand when you're bringing information. So it's very hard to justify what you're saying without having a resident here to back up what you're saying.
You are correct, thank you. But a lot of people are just afraid to come to the podium and say anything. So, and I told them that also.
If I can tell you that nobody's called me relative to the project at all, it was quiet in terms of the project.
Well, just take a ride down yourself. I will take a look at it. I also attended the freeholder meeting, and I have to give kudos to the mayor and the council here. We're allowed 5 minutes. They only gave us 3 minutes.
I did remind them of that.
So I got to give you kudos when I have to. The Ryerson burial site, is that in the Dutch Reformed Church?
Yes.
Pompton Reformed Church.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Also, when Borough Administrator was talking about the elevation of the homes, that it costs more to elevate a home than it does to demolish a home. That's more than likely true. But then when you elevate a home, you get taxes from that home at the time that house is there. When you demolish a home, you get no more tax dollars.
That is very true, but it also depends on the resident that's living in that house, if they want to walk up 2 flights of stairs every day to go into their home.
If you're old and you can't do that, then move someplace else, but young people can.
Well,
If the house is
it's not
gone,
my decision.
we won't get any tax dollars if the house is
But
gone.
it's not my decision. It's the homeowner's decision.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session? So moved. Councilman Bennett, Councilman DeLon, second. All in favor? Aye. Against? Privilege of the floor. Anybody have anything to have to say?
I just wanted to point out something. There's a Facebook page called Pompton Lakes Rocks. If people are unaware of it, it was started by one of our residents, where kids basically paint the rocks, and they hide it throughout the town. and parents go out and other kids find them, and they, you know, they paint more rocks and they hide them and everything like that. There is one family, the Aherns, that are on some kind of cross-country trip, and they've actually been hiding Pompton Lakes rocks in these other locations with a note on it, saying, you know, if you find this rock, go to the Facebook page, Pompton Lakes Rocks, post that you found this thing, where you're from, everything like that. So, and people from Utah to Illinois to all things have been going to this little Facebook page in Pompton Lakes, talking about how this family from Pompton Lakes has been sort of spreading Pompton Lakes love, and I just thought it was really cool, and I wanted to commend them. That was an interesting idea, and just let people know that that's going on.
They asked me to join that group, and I have joined that group. I'm not looking for rocks, but I joined it. Any other privilege of force?
Just like to congratulate Ryan Kashan on his promotion. Well-deserved, very intelligent officer, and I'm sure he's going to do a wonderful job.
And it is a big step up, so it is a congratulations. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman Devine.
Second there.
Councilman Branco. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you.